One of the Rochester police officers involved in the Daniel Prude case is now facing disciplinary action. The Rochester Police Department announcing tonight Officer Mark Vaughn has been served with departmental charges. This comes months after State Attorney General Letitia James told us none of the officers would be criminally charged in Prude's death, a death the medical examiner called a homicide. And a warning, we are going to show some of that body cam video tonight. Alex Love joins us now live from the Public Safety Building with more on this big development. Alex.
That's right, Adam. Officer Mark Vaughn is facing what RPD called departmental charges as it relates to what happened in the encounter with Daniel Prude early in the morning, March 23rd, 2020. While this is the first disciplinary action to be taken against an officer involved in the matter, the legal team for the Prude family and the Rochester Police Accountability Board are not satisfied. In a media release Thursday night, Rochester Police determined there are potential grounds for legal recourse against Officer Mark Vaughn, who was seen pressing his hands against Daniel Prude's face after cuffing him while on the ground with a spit hood over his head. An announcement not good enough for attorney Elliot Shields, who represents the Prude family.
Pressing some vague, undefined charge against Officer Vaughn. Now, if they were going to charge Officer Vaughn with the most serious charges, and if they were going to seek his termination, which is what they should be doing, they would have said that.
Being departmental charges, Officer Vaughn wouldn't face any jail time or civil penalties, but could face suspension or could even get fired. The Police Accountability Board has more questions tonight and vowed to keep investigating from their end.
If we were involved in this, we would have done a quick, thorough and transparent investigation. You'd know what charges we were recommending, and that would have been done by an independent civilian rather than people within the department, so that people could trust that the right charges were being brought.
RPD added they remain committed to reform efforts to ensure trust and transparency with the community with new officer training programs, but at this time no other officers in this matter have been charged, outraging the Prude family's legal team.
Every other officer that was present at the scene had a duty to intervene, and they're equally liable for Daniel Prude's death under the law. Troy Talley put his full body weight across Daniel Prude's back while he sat there and breathed his last breaths.
And the union that represents the city police department, the Rochester Locust Club, also released a statement following this announcement, saying in part, quote, Chief Cynthia Harriet Sullivan needs to stand next to them and answer questions like why she had the results since last April but wouldn't release it, or why she repeatedly said she would make the decision and now it's the conflict attorney's decision. For the full details on the charges and of everybody's statements, be sure to head over to our website, rochesterfirst.com. Live in Rochester, Alex Love, News 8.
Joining us now is local attorney Lorenzo Napolitano, who can talk about what exactly happened here and where we go from here. Lorenzo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
My first question, right off the top of the press release, RPD said that its conflict counsel determined potential grounds for legal recourse in this case. What is conflict counsel here?
That's a counsel that the RPD engaged to investigate this matter, similar to, I believe, the city also hired independent counsel to investigate the city's handling of the Daniel Prude incident.
So is this basically the internal investigation that we've been hearing about?
This essentially is the internal investigation, and we've just learned today, obviously, that departmental charges have been filed against one officer.
When people hear charges, they usually think criminal or even civil. And what's departmental charges here?
These are not criminal charges. These are just allegations leveled against the officer. Essentially, well, it's early right now. We don't know what those allegations are. The press release didn't provide much information, but I imagine it would be some allegation that the officer didn't follow protocol, the RPD general orders, or an officer's code of conduct. He would be entitled to a formal hearing. He is entitled to due process, just like almost anybody in our legal system that's accused of something. He's afforded due process, constitutional rights, rights under the collective bargaining agreement that the union has with the city and also under New York state law.
What are the potential disciplinary actions that can be taken from this?
It could run the gamut. It could run the gamut to just merely a citation on his record, all the way up to the most extreme is termination from his job with the Rochester Police Department.
Lorenzo Napolitano, thank you so much for your expertise this evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. By the way, neither City Hall, RPD, or Officer Vaughn's attorney returned calls for comment, calls that did go out after hours tonight. For the very latest on this developing story, just head over to our website, rochesterfirst.com.